A young college kid sitting there. You seen that?
I have, yeah. Yeah. And their defense is, well, we warned him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's he was pretty sadistic too. He was getting off on it. He was loving it.
Oh, yeah.
He was loving it.
Right in our face. March 19th, U.S. fires cruise missiles from the sea while French jets target Gaddafi's forces, launching a broad international effort in support of Libyan uprising that seemed near defeat. Well, we all, again, know what happened there. But just another war we were involved in this year. You know?
Yeah, leader of a sovereign nation being invaded. That's how I see it.
That's what it is. I mean, you know, I don't know. They just
whether
want
you
you
like
to believe
people or not. I mean,
exactly. You got to go by the rule of law. You know, the rule of law doesn't exist in their eyes.
Have no right.
These criminals, you know, it's just unfucking-believable.
Right. March 21st, Syrians chanting, "No more fear," hold a defiant march after deadly government crackdown failed to quash 3 days of mass protests in the southern city of Tighe.
Yeah. There's still going to be a lot of problems in Syria right now. The globalists want to take that place to town as well.
That's what I was saying. Is there's bombs going off yesterday in Syria? They had the police detonated, you know, those bombs that shoot a nail bomb. When the bomb shoots out nails.
On March 26th, more than 250,000 people take to London streets to protest the toughest spending cuts since World War II. Riot police clash with demonstrators, and more than 200 people are arrested. Well, you know, Great Britain.
Great Britain.
Well, spending cuts, I'm sure, spending cuts on the people, but not for the wars or Big Brother and 7 million cameras being put up. And they had money for that, but nothing for the people.
March 28th, which is the last event that happened in March, Obama insists the U.S. was driven to intervene in Libya by the moral imperative to prevent a massacre. But as uprisings flare elsewhere, he calls a Libyan action unique.
Unique. It's unique for the CIA to like prop up the Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda to take over and, you know, drop some love bombs.
I like how he says that. Imperative to prevent a massacre of civilians.
War is peace.
But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Isn't that true? I mean, isn't that just absolutely true? I mean, that's the great George Carlin. Okay, we're back. This is Howard Nema and my co-host Vinny Bdatruth with Chris Tighe here, helping out, getting the spirits happening. I guess we're all going to start having a little libations going on. It is New Year's Eve after all.
It is.
And I must say, so much has gone on this year with regards to like just oppressive tyranny. Like we've been talking about events lately. But you really have people coming into people's homes in California, forcing Gardasil to be mandated to all children without their parents' consent. To have unvaccinated children who are homeschooled visited by, the state. To have CPS attack children. A friend of mine, Alec, was on the show a couple of weeks ago, had a child, refused the vaccinations. CPS came to his house and they tried to make trouble that he was child abuse because he refused to give the children shots.
And of course, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
They called him.
Oh, they called him a conspiracy theorist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, this is just out of control tyranny. That's an example of real tyranny. And it's happening. That happened this year. His child's not even a year old. So we're dealing with that situation this year. There's tyranny. We have the law that was just passed. I just explained that was tyranny. You have pepper spray in the face, like you were mentioning. I mean, we're covering a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing for 2011 into Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street and the attacks against it, and then just quelling it, crushing
it.
Unfortunately, even though it was co-opted by all the George Soros and...
Mm-hmm. But it's a good thing, though. It really is, no matter what.
It was a good thing.
It was a good thing.
To get some anger, to get some people that are actually angry and do something.
People that don't know anything to actually, it's kind of forced on the average person.
Yeah, I think so.
Most people never knew, they didn't hear anything about this until that,
Yeah.
But
you got to understand, the Federal Reserve is a criminal banking cartel, and that's the reason why we're in this mess we're in. So...
how about all the movements that were covered up to take down the Occupy movement that you don't even hear about? I mean,
of course not.
They hit them at 3 o'clock in the morning when they were all sleeping.
That's right, and that was
in their beds and
18 states, 18 cities. Excuse me, 18 cities. You're right. Yeah. Coordinated efforts in 18 cities through Homeland Security, who denied it tooth and nail, but they did the exact same protocol in 18 cities, took down all of the locations. All of them. All at once. 18 cities. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. What else happened, Chris?
Well, in April, in politically gridlock Washington, an 11th hour agreement on the federal budget, including tens of billions of dollars in spending cuts, averts a government shutdown. That's right. Our government, when faced with an issue, might just shut down. That's what we're paying our taxes for.
Yes, and in that case, they again just raising debt ceilings and putting us further into debt.
A day later, highly radioactive water leaks into the sea from a crack in Japan's stricken nuclear power plant. Earthquake survivors complain that the government is not paying enough heed to the victims.
Well, of course not. They just shut the whole thing down. You didn't hear of any of the people that hundreds of thousands of people that died. Come on, please.
On April 4th, the Obama administration gives up on trying Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 4 alleged 9/11 co-conspirators in civilian courts in New York, and will prosecute them before military commissions. Of course, they're prosecuting people who really didn't have anything to do with anything.
It's funny though. It looks good, and then Obama. You see, it's all good. It looks good. Obama killed Osama. Mm-hmm. Obama killed Osama.
On April 6th, Portugal becomes the 3rd debt-stressed European country to need a bailout, following Ireland and Greece. Prime Minister announces this request for a bailout. So not only are banks being bailed out, but small countries in Europe are being, not small countries, I mean, we're talking about Ireland and Greece.
Yeah, that's the whole pig thing. Pigs. Portugal, Italy, Greece.
Right. And using our money, putting the debt on us to bail them out.
Right.
It's incredible.
Going into mid-April, let's see here, Syrian security forces fire at protesters, killing at least 75 people around the country.
There's the tyranny from that. Once you protest too much, we shoot you. You can protest a little bit, but once you start to make too much noise and get on our nerves, that's when we start to clamp down. Start shooting at you.
Yep.
You know. Now the media has just completely ignored the Occupy movement, by the way, and it still actually is going on, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually going on, but the media has dropped the story completely.
And that's partially their fault, because they never really drew any true, any goals.
Yeah, they don't have any. They're sort of like
went out there,
and people are still just out there, sort of like Hoovervilles or Obamavilles, if you want to call it that.
And they keep cutting off the heads of the snake.
Well, also, but I'm going to say something to that. I always got to stick up, because I've been down there. I went with Hank too, one of our members. The media won't go to the people. There's a lot of people who don't know what the hell's going on. They're just there to be there, I guess. And then there's the people like us that do know what's going on. But the camera, and when I was there, it was that show on Comedy Central, The Daily Show was there. And they refused to go to anybody who was somewhat intelligent and had a message.
Of course,
they will not.
Absolutely. So no, because they have their message.
Comedy show. They're trying to make light of the situation. Of course, they're going to get dumb
they're
idiots
like, talking about drum circles and stupid shit. Yeah. That's what I mean. So the people who are like, well, there's no message. Yeah, because the people who have a message aren't allowed on television. So there are some good people there.
That's true.
And they arrest the ones that have the best message.
Exactly. Yes. And if you're just some idiot there who don't have a message, camera right in your face, so that could be the face of the movement.
Yeah, fun. Yeah,
I played drums for like 10 hours.
I want a job, and it's like,
I need a job because I need a job.
Yeah. So that's what they wanted to look
because I need a job.
On April 27th, the White House had released Obama's Hawaiian long-form birth certificate.
Oh, there's some
claims.
There's some tyranny.
Fraud. Years, we still have a birth certificate to show.
I guess Ahmed claims of so-called birthers that he was not a naturally born citizen. I personally believe that he was not a naturally born citizen.
He wasn't.
Oh, the whole thing is a CIA front. His mother, his father, they all worked CIA. She worked. They went from Russia. They were studying Russian in the University of Hawaii. And then, interestingly enough, with the MK Ultra and the mind control and all that, guess who came from Hawaii?
Who?
Think of a famous person who could have been an MK Ultra. Let's trivia. Truth trivia. We should definitely. I'm going to definitely come up. That's a great idea for a little segment. Truth trivia. Who? Okay, came up came from Hawaii, killed a very famous person, assassinated them in a total MK Ultra fashion.
Oh, it was that little guy.
John Lennon's killer?
No,
can't remember his name.
John Lennon's killer came from Hawaii.
Yeah, but really? I can't remember his name.
Mark David Chapman.
Ah, yes.
He was from Hawaii?
He supposedly had
He came from Hawaii.
schizophrenia.
Yeah, supposedly he had schizophrenia, right?
Yeah.
Schizophrenia.
However, his mind
if you study
completely
MK
shut
Ultra,
off right after
it
he
just
did the
freaked me
job.
because then if you look what's going on at the University of Hawaii.